Hi there, I'm Brian LaRosa with LaRosa's Trains. Today we're going to take a look at what, in my opinion, is probably the best 3-rail O-gauge model of the year. It's the new Lionel LionChief Plus 2.0 Union Pacific ET44AC diesel. Now first, you'll notice that the engine is still packed in its box. And I've deliberately chosen not to open it until this video, because I'm excited to announce that we're going to actually unbox the engine. So I thought this would make this video more fun by starting the whole process from the opening of the box to the full operation of this engine. So I hope you enjoyed the beginning of this video. Alright, what could be more exciting than opening this overdue Christmas present? Let's go. I like the way Lionel added this this little cardboard piece. Because whenever you open whenever you cut the tape on the box with a knife or a razor blade, the blade won't damage the inner box, which you're about to see in just a second. And I've already pre-cut this box before this video. And now let's head on to this colorful box. Oh yes, still has even if it's a brand new engine, it's still in this iconic blue and orange box, just like a classic Lionel trains. As you can see, it says excuse me, LionChief Plus 2.0, because this engine is equipped with this system. And on the other end of the box it says Bluetooth, because it has the Bluetooth connection, which gives the capability to operate this engine with the LionChief smartphone app. So anyway, let's continue unboxing this item. So here's this plastic bag. And let's see. And here's the list of features. Union Pacific ET44AC number 2645. Operate using Bluetooth with universal motor app. TMCC command control equipped. Operates on conventional transformer. This engine has fan-driven smoke unit, rail sounds, and 0.36 at minimum curve. Oh, I thought in the catalog it says 0.31, but oh well. At least I do have wide enough curves. And then lastly, this product is recommended for ages 14 to adults. Okay, so there we are. There we are. Oh boy, it's in this plastic frame as opposed to the styrofoam packing. And here's the instruction book that comes with this item, and it's really vital to read them before operation, simply to prevent damage to this model that may otherwise occur. So if you're willing to buy products like this, please read the instructions that come with this thing, and be sure to save them for future reference. So this one has the instructions. Oh, I love these. It does have the accurate Tier 4 style radiators. I really love them. And these contrast with the wings used on the original ES44. Like this one. In fact, I have a couple of ES44s made by MTH. One's the Canadian National, and the one over there is the GE Demonstrator Hybrid. And so yeah, I'm real excited to run this thing. Alright, we're ready to review this engine. Let's start off with some information about the real-life ET44, and then we'll head on to Lionel's model. Let me talk about the original ES44 first. General Electric began full production of the ES44AC in 2005 as a response to the Tier 2 emission standards of the United States Environmental Protection Agency. For the uninitiated, ES stands for Evolution Series. The 44 stands for 4400 horsepower, which is produced by the 12-cylinder GEVO diesel engine. For that reason, the Evolution locomotives are nicknamed GEVOs, and the AC refers to alternating current traction motors. Other major variants of the ES44 include the direct current traction ES44 DC, the 4000 horsepower ES40 DC for Norfolk Southern, and the 4-motored ES44C4, built primarily for BNSF. The C refers to 6-wheel trucks, or 6 axles in 2 trucks, but the 4 means only 4 traction motors instead of 6. Specifically, the center axle of each truck is non-powered. The only other operator of the ES44C4 is the Florida East Coast Railway. When the Tier 3 emission standards went into effect in 2012, GE continued production of the ES44. However, the company had to design a significantly different locomotive and improve its engine in an effort to comply with the Tier 4 regulations that were scheduled to be enforced in 2015. GE introduced its first Tier 4 prototype GEVO about 3 years prior to these regulations, and additional demonstrators were built for testing on various railroad lines. This led to the new ET44AC designation, as well as the 4-motored ET44C4, the latter of which has been built solely for BNSF. Of course, the T simply stands for Tier 4. GE claims that the ET44 can release about 70% fewer emissions than a typical Tier 3 GEVO. While the ET44 is considered to be the successor to the ES44, the original Tier 3 units are still in domestic production and are referred to as Tier 4 credit users, which are somewhat exempt from the current emission standards. Additional locomotives built for Canada and Mexico are essentially Tier 3 only, meaning that they are strictly confined outside the U.S. Overall, the ET44AC represents the latest technology to maximize fuel efficiency, increase reliability, and most importantly, to reduce as many exhaust emissions as possible. As of this video, almost all of the major Class 1 freight railroads have purchased the ET44, except for Canadian Pacific. Now let's talk about Lionel's O-gauge rendition of the ET44. The company introduced the ET44 in its 2018 Volume 1 catalog, and it was initially offered in a BNSF LionChief starter set. Now, for some reason, Lionel initially modeled this after an ES44AC locomotive, its predecessor, as if it's modeled after a Tier 4 credit user. However, by the time Lionel released the 2019 Volume 1 catalog, they correctly modified the design in order to make this engine look like a legit Tier 4 locomotive. And so this motivated me to buy this model. Among the railroad names available separately include a Union Pacific version, which is what you're seeing here, a CSX version, a BNSF version, and a Norfolk Southern version. And each paint scheme is available in 2 numbers each. So you have a total of 8 different options. And these are all available as separate engines. Additional paint schemes are currently available only in ready-to-run sets, and these include the Tier 4 Demonstrator, Kansas City Southern, as well as some fictional paint schemes such as Area 51 and Budweiser beer. Let's go over some major physical features on this engine. First of all, we have a sturdy metal frame, a detailed plastic shell, 2 die-cast trucks, and a colorful, authentic paint scheme. This engine measures 16 inches in length, and the minimum curve required to run this engine is 0.31. However, as seen on the box, for some reason the minimum curve says 0.36. So I'm guessing that the minimum recommended curve for this engine would be 0.36. Now, I never tried running this engine on an 0.31 curve because I no longer use that on my layout. But I'm fully certain that you can run this engine on curves as tight as 0.31. But my personal recommendation is to run this engine on 0.36 as the minimum curve for best results. Under the hood, this engine is equipped with 2 flywheel motors, 1 powering each truck. It's also equipped with a fan-driven smoke unit, which is located below the smokestack. And the electronics package for this engine is the Rail Sounds sound system with Lionel's state-of-the-art LionChief Plus 2.0, as well as the Bluetooth decoder for running this engine with Lionel's LionChief smart device app. Let's talk about LionChief for a little bit. Lionel first introduced LionChief in 2013 as sort of a replacement to the conventional powered traditional O-gauge engines, and it was available on many radio controlled ready-to-run sets and separate engines. And they also came with their own individual modes, even the separate engines. Now, one of the main problems about the LionChief engines is that they are not compatible to legacy at all. And then when LionChief Plus came out in 2014, as the term suggests, it includes some extra features like the electrocouplers and the fan-driven smoke, as opposed to the puffing smoke. But one of the hallmarks of the Plus engines is that they have the ability to run as conventional engines at the flip of a switch, and that's a really good idea, especially for elderly train enthusiasts who are not so fond of modern electronics inside these new engines. So now, because LionChief Plus engines can run conventionally, it is certainly possible to run them with the legacy system, but you need to make sure that you have purchased the separately sold Power Master that is responsible for running conventional engines with either legacy or TMCC remote. Then in 2017, Lionel introduced a Bluetooth inside the new LionChief engines, so that you can run these engines with the LionChief smartphone app. And even the more expensive legacy O-scale engines have the Bluetooth decoders, so that you won't be forced to buy a legacy system when you can run these engines with your smartphone. Oh, by the way, the LionChief Plus engines also came with individual remotes, which can be a bit cumbersome because that every time you buy a LionChief engine, you may end up with too many remotes. And fortunately, for that reason, Lionel offers the LionChief Universal remote, so that you can run and program and run up to 3 different compatible engines, including legacy engines, as long as they have Bluetooth on board. The Universal remote can also run non-Bluetooth engines that come with radio frequency or RF. And now, when LionChief Plus 2.0 came out in 2019, it now has the full compatibility to a TMCC and legacy system, because these engines have essentially TMCC electronics on board. So now it should be noted that the LionChief 2 engines do not come with the individual remotes, and that's one of the reasons I did not purchase any LionChief engines up until now, because I wanted to avoid multiple remotes that I may end up with otherwise. Now, thanks to the brand new LionChief 2 system, you now have a total of 5 different options. I really mean it, 5 different methods. The first 3 are what we usually expect on Lionel's legacy engines. So you can run this diesel with a top-notch legacy remote. You can run this engine with the older Trainmaster Command Control System, which is what TMCC stands for. Or you can run this engine conventionally with just a regular AC transformer. The other two methods are with respect to Bluetooth control, thanks to its Bluetooth decoders on board. You can run this engine with a handheld LionChief universal remote, or if you have a smartphone or tablet, you can run this engine with the free LionChief app. Now, because of that free app, I didn't need to purchase the LionChief handheld remote. And this is what I'm going to use for this demonstration when we start up the engine. We're going to use this very mobile-friendly app. Okay, let's go over the details on the ET44. Starting at the front. On the top, we have the light and number boards. And on the nose we have an operating headlight, and then the operating ditch lights. Now, oddly enough, in the catalog, for some reason, the ditch lights were not shown, as if Lionel's trying to make this locomotive affordable. But hey, these ditch lights do operate, and they will turn on when the engine starts moving, and then they will oscillate back and forth when you blow the horn on this engine. And speaking of lighting features, there's also an interior cab light, and that light will turn off when the engine starts moving. And then lastly, there's the Lionel electrocoupler that can be fired by either the Legacy, TMCC, or LionChief remote. Here's a brief look at the one side of the cab. First of all, there's a well-painted unit number, 2645. And then below the number is the model name printing, which should have been read as C45AH, because in reality, Union Pacific designates its ET44s as well as some of its ES44s as C45AH. However, on the model, the name is read ET44C4, which the UP does not purchase. Only BNSF does own the C4 type. And now, I'm not trying to be picky about some details. I just want to point out one difference between this model and the prototype. Just behind the cab, we have this flawlessly applied Union Pacific logo and its slogan. And then on the prime mover section, the American flag is also flawlessly painted. And then on the top of the unit, we have some realistic molded in details. And there's a separately applied horn, and the smokestack where the fan-driven smoking is located, as mentioned earlier. One thing I do like about this model is that the roof line is based on the current production ET44 locomotives, because there are 3 different phases of the roofline section on top of the Tier 4 GEs. First, on the GE demonstrator units, the roofline has an extended height as sort of a hump above the prime mover section to basically house the emission reduction equipment in an effort to comply with the Tier 4 standards. However, due to the clearance issues on some railroads, the length of the hump was just reduced down to the exhaust section, creating a boxy looking appearance on early production units. However, GE engineered yet another design to handle other clearance issues by making this angled exhaust section that matches the same profile as in the radiator wings. And this is what the Lionel O-gauge model is based off of, the current production GEVOs. When I first test run this engine, the smoke, the problem was that the smoke did not come out of the stack at all. Although the fan was running pretty well, but no smoke came out, not even a single wisp. And so I had to send this engine for repair at my local train store, Engine House Hobbies. Now, I originally wanted to film this review 1 week after my unboxing segment, but because it took a little while for the engine to be serviced, I had to postpone the review to 1 week later. But anyway, when my engine was repaired, I found out that it was the heating element that is responsible for heating up the smoke fluid and making the smoke come out of the stack. The heating element wasn't working at all, so it was basically some disconnected wire which made the heating element not work at all. But anyway, it's finally fixed, and so when I tested the engine again, at first I couldn't see the smoke, but when I revved up the engine, I finally did see smoke. So I basically had to kick the smoke unit in order for the smoke to come out. So I thought this would be worth it if I could have that smoke unit repaired to use that feature properly. Behind the smokestack are these Tier 4 style radiator wings, which is probably my favorite part of this engine. And yes, these wings do open to reveal the engine controls. The first switch is the run program switch if you're running this engine in TMCC or legacy mode. And there's the smoke on-off switch. And then the third one is the Bluetooth switch. So if you're going to run this engine in Bluetooth mode with either the LionChief remote or app, you'll want to make sure that this switch is turned on. Here's a look at the rear of this engine. First, we have the rear headlight, which of course turns on when the engine is in reverse. And then below that we have another electrocoupler that can be fired in either TMCC, Legacy, or LionChief mode. Here's a look at the opposite side of this engine, which looks pretty similar to the previous side I showed you earlier, except we have a couple of unique details, such as the brake wheel towards the rear of the unit. And then towards the front of the unit is this is this big inverter cabinet that you see on all types of GE Evolution diesels. Now you notice on top that there's no handrail applied to the inverter box as it should be on the real life ET44. But that's not really a bad thing in my opinion, because let's say if Lionel tries to put the handrails on that box, and in case the train derails, or if it's handled improperly, there could be a chance that the handrails could get damaged. And so I think it's best that Lionel chose not to put this extra detail on that model, which I'm sure that's probably the reason for it. I'm not saying that I'm a rivet counter. I just want to point out a few differences between this model and the prototype. So it's best that Lionel wants to make this engine as child-friendly as possible. Let's take a brief look at the underside of the ET44. We have 4 pickup rollers, 2 per truck, 4 traction tires, also 2 per truck, and then on the fuel tank is the speaker for the sound system. Okay, now we're ready to run this engine. I'm going to start this engine up, let you hear some of the sounds, and that'll give this a spin around my layout. Alright, now before I play the sounds, we need to connect this locomotive into the LionChief app, which is what I'm going to use for this demonstration. So first up, I'm going to click this one, and as you can see, this engine is listed in the app, so I want to click that. And here's the engine information, and then you click the link button, and then you'll hear a blast of the horn once it's connected. Okay, and so you hear the horn indicating that the engine is connected. Now let's exit that screen. So first up, let's listen to the horn, which is this button. And then here's the bell. This engine has some crew talk sounds, so let's sample some of them.
Dispatcher, error is made. Brake test complete. Are we clear to pull? Over. Please hold. Getting your route line now. Out. Dispatcher, we're ready. Is it okay to pull? Over. You are cleared to depart east on signal indication. Out. Dispatcher, ready to roll. Can I pull? Over. Sit tight for a minute. We've got some traffic to clear first. Out.
So, like I said, this engine does have the electrocouplers, which can be fired from these buttons. This is the front coupler, and this is the rear coupler. And then here's the sound menu, and First you have the volume controls. You can control the volume for individual sounds, including the horn, the bell, the crew talk sounds, and the engine sounds. Or you can adjust the volume by using the overall volume control. There's even a pitch control for this engine, which is very interesting. So, and it's available for both the horn and bell. So let's try the higher pitch first. And then going down. And you can do the same thing for the bell. Higher. And then going down. Yeah, pretty neat. And here are some of the auxiliary controls, such as the smoke unit and these momentum settings and the speed limit for this engine. Let's turn on smoke so that you can see the smoke coming out of the stack. And of course we have the basic movement control, which is, there's the throttle. Just simply slide it upward to speed up, and then slide down to slow down. And then you have this direction key to change directions. And there's even a Lionel voice control system. I'll demonstrate that in just a minute when we move this engine. But for now, let's get this to spin around my layout. Let's check out this Lionel voice control feature, and it's a very neat system. And the way it works is that you just simply tap on this button right there, and you speak a command you want for this engine, and it will and the app will do the work for you. So let's say you want to turn the bell on. So let me demonstrate for you. Ring the bell. I don't know if you can hear in the video, but it does turn the bell on automatically for you. So let's do another. Go slower. One last thing I want to show you on the LionChief app is this unique feature called hotspot mode. You'll notice that there's a button with a remote symbol, and what's really interesting about the app is that if you click on that, that actually allows you to run any LionChief engine that does not have a Bluetooth decoder, and so that allows backwards compatibility to pretty much any LionChief engine, even without their Bluetooth decoders. Now, in order for these things to work, you'll need a LionChief universal remote, because it will act as sort of a command base that essentially translates Bluetooth signals from your phone into the radio signals to your RF engine, non-Bluetooth engine. So this app can run pretty much any LionChief engine with or without Bluetooth. Now, obviously, I don't have any non-Bluetooth engines, but I want to point out that feature. And to go back to Bluetooth mode, you press this button, which has the Bluetooth symbol. Okay, that about wraps it up for this review. This is an extremely awesome locomotive. Not only because it's modeled after the modern GE ET44AC, but also because of this amazing LionChief Plus 2.0 system that offers a lot of flexibility to your engine. Now, as I said earlier, this engine is available as a separate locomotive in 4 different paint schemes, and each paint scheme has 2 numbers each. So if you're interested in purchasing this model, the retail price is just under $400. But please keep in mind that some Lionel dealers may be kind enough to offer this engine at sort of a discount below the retail price, and you still get the same amount of features regardless of the paint scheme you choose. So whichever paint scheme you prefer, it has all the same features, and they're all at the same price. So that's about it for this video. I'm Brian LaRosa, and I will see you next time.